Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Fairholm. Happy holidays, my
Hi,
friend.
Matt. How you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Happy holidays to you.
So let's start here with the CFL Report Cards coming out yesterday. And the first thing that I thought of, because you played in a totally different era of Rider Nation, if they were to give you guys a chance to vote on how things were back in the day, was there anything that would be above a D- when you were in Riderville, outside of the fans being passionate and crazy? Was there anything you saw on that list that could have been anything above a D? Because to me, you guys didn't get the best part of Rider Nation. The players nowadays get the nice stadium and the facilities.
Yeah, it's a tough one to say because it was a completely different world. I mean, I wish visitors' locker rooms were on there too, because Winnipeg had a terrible locker room. Hamilton had a terrible locker room. Anyway, we never got food. We had to bring our own food, and we didn't have food on planes. It was whatever Air Canada at the time was serving on the plane, if anything. So, I think the players are a little bit spoiled, but I like this. I like the report cards. I think it's good for free agency, especially if you're a rider and you're trying to attract people. But yeah, the report cards are fun. It's really nothing more than that, and it's an attraction thing for free agents.
Now, being in the corporate world, you have a real job. I've been in these corporate settings before where they send out these employee surveys and they're 100% anonymous. And you think, well, there's nothing anonymous if it's coming through an email. They can always track it back to somewhere. Some of the anonymous comments are coming, and they're all over social media. I found some on Facebook. They're on Twitter. They're on Instagram. So here is a couple from, apparently these are Bomber players. I believe we have very poor travel out of Winnipeg for away games. We are placed in a very small transport plane with limited seating and very little legroom. We are fed cookies and goldfish and chips. It's very uncomfortable, and everybody I know on the team dreads the away games. It could be worse. You could be on a bus, right? You could be bussing to games.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're complaining about the wrong thing, whoever that is. I mean, but it's the way it is these days with today's athletes, right? They're used to being pampered, and when they're coming out of college now, I tweeted something today on I tweeted X, whatever I did. It was, I'm just so disappointed in what's going on with college football in the States, with the players being paid and the fantastic facilities they have, and the CFL is a pro league, but it's not far removed from the colleges. And you want to have good facilities, you want to be treated well, but at the same time, you want to do it for the love of the game and the love of the sport and the love of your school or team that you're playing for. I'm old school, I get it. It's just a different world right now, and you've got to attract these players, but they're used to things that are certainly way different than I was ever used to. I'll tell you that.
Another Blue Bomber player described the team playing as terrible and falling apart. Now, these guys are anonymous. I would be like, you know what? Put your name on it. Like, keep in mind, come out and maybe they'll do something. Cold pizza isn't good enough. CFL players list their biggest complaints. So it's kind of funny. Need better food for practice and after the games. Cold pizza isn't good enough. I don't know, depending on where the pizza's from. Cold pizza's not bad. No meals after the game. Now that, to me, no, you just exerted all of that. They got to at least feed you. That's the kind of stuff to be like, all right. Every nutrition person in the world would be like, listen, you've just exerted and spent how much and all the calories, you've got to replenish that. So I think it was interesting. And I'm wondering if you're an executive of any of the teams in the CFL, did you think that your score would come out as it came out, or are some of these you're totally blown away? Because BC, for having one of the richer owners in the league, they got a lot of D's, D minuses, and C's on there with some things that are cured with money. And maybe they're totally shocked.
Well, they might be. Businesses are in the business to make money. That's what they're there for. And yes. If you can get away with it and still win a Grey Cup and make money, then that's what businesses are going to do, in my opinion. But this report card is pretty telling, and I think owners and people who are in the know have to take a serious look at this and say we need to improve this, because like I said, you want to be able to entice players to come to your team as a free agent. It's not just about coaches and money and things like that. It's all this other stuff that's shown on the screen right now. And if you get A's and still able to make money, there's ways to do that, then you've got to do that. And, the players are going to leave. They're going to leave for bad food, and they're going to leave for, lousy planes and things like that. To have a good culture, you got to have a good, you've got to have all this stuff. You got to be at least closer to the B category.
Yeah, the only thing the Riders apparently need to clean up on there is they got a lot of B's, a lot of A's. Nutrition, they got a D+. The Edmonton Eskimos had the worst report card on everybody. They got an F for training camp. And I'm trying to think, are their training camp facilities that bad? But obviously, in the players' opinion, they are. They also got an F in nutrition.
Well, they had Chris Jones too. So if I had Chris Jones in training camp, I'd give it an F as well. But I'll tell you what, when I was in training camp, I don't care where I was going. You were getting an F in training camp because I didn't want to be there. So
that's funny. So the big news today, the Riders extend Jaden Dahlke, which I think is smart. Got off to a decent start last year, took a couple of undisciplined penalties near the start of the year, kind of went away for a while, and then he reemerged at the end of the season. I think that's the best way to put it from a casual fan's point of view. It kind of makes sense. He was a high draft pick of theirs. The Noah Zur signing, the extension yesterday, that was good. If you didn't get a chance to watch that interview with Barney, you can go catch the podcast at sportscage.com. I had said when the Cody Fajardo thing was going on a few weeks ago that Cody Fajardo will be a starting quarterback somewhere by Labor Day next year. There's just not enough good quarterbacks. So he gets traded to Edmonton. Trey Ford plays a very high-risk, high-reward game, which opens himself up to injury. So does Cody. So now I think that's a good move. And if you're Danny Machocha, if they do sign McLeod Bethel Thompson because they got his rights, wouldn't he be a perfect complement for Davis Alexander as a young guy with a lot on his shoulders to learn from, just in case he doesn't get off to he played great this year, but let's say he gets off to a slow start, and MBT can be a really good thing in Montreal.
I think they're the quarterbacks that would be great backups for those young guys. Yes. I disagree. I think Cody's time has passed. I would argue that it was never there, but I think that keeping those two guys in the places where they were at was going to do nothing but cause trouble because they were used to starting in those situations. I'm sure that they're told, I'm sure Fajardo's told in Edmonton, you'll have a chance for your, the starting job, blah, blah, blah. But they've already come out and said it's Trey Ford. And as long as he's healthy, I hope he's the starter. Fajardo needs a defense because if he doesn't have a good defense, he's not going to throw a long ball. His time is done. I have not been a fan of Cody Fajardo. I've been on record of saying that in the past. MBT, I think his time is coming to an end as well, and it's time to get some fresh blood in here. So being backups and a legitimate second string backup, I think is fantastic. I think that's what we're missing in Saskatchewan. So I think it's a good move for everybody all around. I'm glad they got it done before Christmas because it just settles the league down, and now they can look at the rest of the rosters per team.
No disrespect to Shea Patterson, but if you had to choose a potential backup quarterback to Trevor Harris, who is signed on a more team-friendly deal than he was, are you someone that would put your hand up for a Jake Mayer, who had a horrible season in Calgary? No, I wouldn't.
I think they're doing the right thing. I think Shea Patterson's the guy, or I can't remember his name, the kid that they got out of Notre Dame, it has a chance to improve. I think we need to get somebody better. And if there's somebody else out there, go get them out of college or out of pros or something. We need to build that quarterback thing. And where Calgary went wrong is they always had a quarterback coming up into the system. And when they got rid of Bo and put all their eggs into the Jake Mayer basket, they just bet wrong. And I don't think Jake Muir in Saskatchewan would be an answer even as a second stringer. I think we need to develop our own quarterbacks in our own system so that when that person gets in, they can go and hopefully perform. But no, I don't think I would want to see Jake Muir in Saskatchewan, and I hope if he does go there, I hope Trevor stays healthy for a number of years.
See, and I'm on the flip side. Last year, we saw it in the playoffs and at the end of the season when Big Play VA got a chance to play. Some of the old bad habit VA came out, and I don't necessarily know that he's maybe better than what Calgary had. I don't necessarily know to have all the answers. They quietly completed their coaching staff this week. They brought in some new faces. Dave Dickinson, Craig Dickinson is now special teams coordinator. I don't necessarily know that it's a rebound year. You mentioned it earlier in the interview. We're chatting with Jeff Fairholm here on the Western Pizza guest hotline. You came out of American college football, and now with the transfer portal and NIL, there were over 1,500 players. 31% of all college players on scholarship were in the transfer portal trying to find a new team, potentially to the highest bidder, and it's screwing with bowl season. It's completely screwed up American college football, and there are some bowls that will be starting tonight in the Big 12 playoffs, those that will kick off on Friday night. Now that Pandora's box is open, can they ever go back to anything, or is this just going to be as screwed up now as ever and only get worse?
What they did is they implemented this stuff without any rules, and they can go and do whatever they want, and they can go to the highest bidder. And to me, the rich is just going to get richer. So the Alabamas, the Notre Dames, the Michigans, they're just going to be playing for the national title every year because they got the money to be able to pay players now. My school, the University of Arizona, has 31 kids in the transfer portal. I mean, it just completely changes your team. Now, we only won 4 games, so perhaps that's a good thing, and we can get some better players in. But where's the love of school? When I went, I loved the University of Arizona. I love Tucson, Arizona, because I was there for 4 years. I bled on that field. You're going to have players nowadays that are going to say, yeah, I'm from Arizona, Michigan, Tennessee, and Alabama. It's just getting ridiculous, and it's become pro, and I don't like it. I think it's free agency. I think it's go to the highest bidder. It's not professional football. It's not professional sports. They should be playing for the love of the game. Yeah, some of them will advance. Not many of them, by the way, but some of them will advance, and they'll have their time if they're there to make money. But right now, there's no incentive to even go to school. I mean, I haven't heard of anybody. Have you heard of anybody actually being sat on the bench because of academics? You don't hear about that anymore. All it is money, 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 and I don't like it. I hate it.
One of the best things that I read earlier today, Quinn Ewers, who is the starting quarterback for the University of Texas Longhorns, who I think shouldn't be starting in the bowl game. I think it should be Arch Manning, who is the heir apparent in waiting, and the team plays way better. So Quinn Ewers has a 7-figure offer from Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss to go there to play out basically his 5th year. And why wouldn't you, before he declares for the NFL draft? Now, that 7 figures, it's not just it could be more than $1 million. It could be up to, they say, $4 to $5 million to go play another year of college football. Well, that's NFL money, and that's guaranteed. And that has nothing to do with what other endorsements that he can get. And it is free agency. And here's one of the weirdest scenarios. Marshall, remember, a lot of us only know Marshall University because of that movie and the tragedy, and Matthew McConaughey. It was McConaughey that started it. Marshall had to cancel their bowl game because all of the players went into the transfer portal because their coach left. Tonight, UNLV will be playing Cal at SoFi Stadium in LA. Dan Mullen is coming in to coach UNLV next year. And tonight they won't have an offensive coordinator because he's leaving and going to be gone. And which makes me kind of happy in a way that Deion Sanders has said his son Shadur and Travis Hunter, who won the Heisman on the weekend, will be playing in the bowl game, because now the thing is, no, I don't want to jeopardize my future. I'm going to opt out. Ooh, could you imagine like your teammates bailing before you make it to a bowl game and be like, sorry, guys, I'm not going to play because I got to put my personal interests ahead of the team now?
It wouldn't have happened in my time. even if, the guys that we had on our team, I can't imagine them leaving. But now let me say this. I think it's important to say that the NIL and transfer portal is screwed up. And it's the NCAA that has screwed this up. It's not the players' fault. The players are going to go and they're going to take the money. I mean, if you got a chance, if yours has a chance to go for whatever it is, $1 million, $3 million, $4 million, and go to Ole Miss, if I were him, I'd be taking the money too, because there's no guarantee that he's going to play or be in the NFL. From what I saw, I've only seen a game and a half of his, and from what I saw, he's not even an NFL quarterback. So, the chances are he's not going to make the money anyway. But go and get the money. I'm just saying it's broken because that money's out there and it shouldn't be. And I'm not blaming the kids for transferring. I'm blaming the whole system. And the system's broken. And it's just become money, 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 money. It's all about the networks and how much money they can make. And to me, it's wrong. You call me old or whatever you want. And I'll tell you another story. When I became a senior at Arizona, and if anyone was going to leave, it was going to be me. When I was a senior at Arizona, Larry Smith went to USC to coach, and we got a new coach in called Dick Tomey. And Dick came in with some crazy, stupid offense. I was a third-year starter. I had 7 catches that year, and I played every down. And I'll tell you what, if I had known going in what was going to happen, I would have left. Or no, I wouldn't have left, but I would have had an opportunity. But I wouldn't have left because I loved my and I wanted to finish my situation at Arizona at my school. So, I didn't sign for $1 million with Saskatchewan. Close, very close, but I didn't sign for $1 million. And and my football career turned out okay, and that's why I'm slugging office furniture now. But it's a tough one. But I think the NCAA has screwed this up, and I just don't like it at all. I don't like it.
It's funny you saying that. The movie Semi-Pro with Will Ferrell, did they give you the Jackie Moon check for, like, what was it, for the Mega Bowl? That basically just don't, it's the giant check, but just don't go try and cash it for your $1 million signing bonus.
I don't remember what my signing bonus was, but I think it was in the area of $5,000. And I think my first contract was $55,000 a year. So, which was very good for a first year player in the CFL. So, we're talking about completely different things, and that's why I worked while I played, and that's why I stayed where I was, because I wanted to build a life and build a career after football. But yeah, man, things are so different. It's just and where does it stop? It's gone from pro down to college now, and sooner or later they're going to be paying.
Because Jeff, he played college down in Arizona. There he is. All right, so Bill Belichick signs at the University of North Carolina. So you're a dad and you've got a 17-year-old kid. So here's your 2 choices. You're down in the States. NIL money at a college that's guaranteed, but it's not, it's whatever. It's at a decent school. Or do you say, no, I want you to go have a chance to be coached by somebody who's won 6 Super Bowls, because this is going to set you up for a better future if you're going to stay with football. If you're a football dad having to decide what's more money, NIL money in hand or a chance to go learn under a Bill Belichick and his team?
Wow, that is a tough question. I'm going to take the high road and say go play for Bill Belichick. Now, let me preface that as saying that I think Bill Belichick's either going to be wildly successful at UNC or just the worst just the worst coach ever in college football. His personality is one that people don't exactly want to play for, but his knowledge and his winning is unsurpassed. So I think he's going to survive. I think he's going to do very well. I don't know what it's going to be like sitting in some 18-year-old kid's living room trying to get him to come to your school, but I don't know if he's got that way about him. But I think he's going to be good. He's got a lot to teach, and I think he's obviously got some great contacts. He'll have some amazing coaches, and we'll just have to see how he recruits. And it doesn't take long in the college system to become a GOAT, nor does it take long to become a real bad decision. So they're going to give him 2 years, I think. And if he can build a winning team at UMC in 2 years, then he's going to be fantastic.
I think I agree. Wildly successful or a huge flop. It will be who he surrounds himself with. Yes, he can bring in some of his old coaches, but he's going to have to bring in some of the younger generation that can talk to these young kids. And it's funny, when this all went down, I texted Durant, Belichick to North Carolina, Durant to be named offensive coordinator. And he just LOL back, because it will take the bridging of the gap. And that's what people always said in the NFL is, yeah, these guys are pros and you can do it, but the kids are totally different, 18 and 19 years old. Hey, if anything, the University of North Carolina, if they don't have an identity problem now, because that's what people said, they're a basketball school. All their NIL money goes to basketball and not to football. And I think that Belichick makes them a contender in the football school. Did we lose Jeff again? All right, maybe we'll wrap it right there. All right.